Hey, hey, universe and mining family. Grab your shovels and your pickaxes. Welcome to the show. I'm Nemesis, and of course, I'm not your babysitter. Do your own research, but let's dig in. And well, Merry Christmas to anybody who's watching and follows all that stuff. Definitely want to make sure that I say that, just because I know that I do have family that does watch that. So Merry Christmas if you happen to be watching this later on. And if you happen to have missed me and Crypto Mikkel on Decentralized TV last Saturday, just a kind of little recap, we did like a little $600 virtual build off. It was cool. I mean, if we had $600 to spend, I mean, some people that's a lot, to some people that's really nothing. I'm kind of was in the middle on that. I'm like, to me, it can be at times a lot of money. At other times, I could, invest $600 into something. Like I always say, I'm not a financial advisor or anything, but if I had $600 to spend, this is what I kind of put together. Me and him were doing kind of like two different builds, motherboard and CPU, whatever. But on the graphics cards, he chose AMD and I chose NVIDIA. Now, this was what I was able to find. Now, this was like picking parts used off of eBay. If you sit there and you hunt around and you wait a little bit, you're going to find some good deals from time to time. So definitely go looking out there, and it's sometimes worth just kicking it around if you're wanting to do it. What I ended up putting together was a 6 GPU H81 mining motherboard. Used. It was $34.30 with shipping. Really isn't much. Then Celeron G3930. You might ask me, why did I choose that particular CPU? It's horrible. Well, if you're going to use it for gaming, it is. For mining purposes, it's just enough to get the rig running, because you're not leaning on that CPU on a mining rig. You're leaning on that GPU. So this one I went after low wattage. Let it sink in. Low wattage. It's the only reason why I picked this particular CPU. I'm not running Windows application on here where, I need to have the amount of cores. I don't care about that. I just need something that's going to get the rig to turn on and let the GPUs do its work. So at 51 watts, I love this one. Came in at $43.50 with free shipping. Free shipping for the win, guys. And then I went with, because I wasn't planning on having a lot of GPUs. A $600 budget, most of your money goes into your GPUs. So I only went with 4 gigs of RAM. Now, it can't be upgraded. That's the beautiful part of it. 4 gigs of RAM, you can add in another stick of RAM and actually have 8 gigs of RAM once you go to expanding on the rig, and you'll be perfectly fine. So I was able to get 4 gigs of Samsung RAM, 3216, free shipping. It's all on eBay. You can find this stuff. It's this easy. I didn't even take that much time, really, to put this list together. Then I found Meilea 6-pack PCIe dual chip risers, so that you can actually remote plug in your GPUs, so you're not plugging them all into the motherboard, because why? Not enough room. So you gotta give yourself room with risers that let you remotely plug in your GPU, in one spot, and have your motherboard down here, so that now you can slot in a lot more down there, which is kind of cool. Then I went with an ATX power supply. Dude, get this one. I kind of am proud of this one. 1800 watt, 6 GPU rig, mining specific power supply. Dude, $51.15 plus tax. I mean, this stuff's on eBay. You can find it. Deals are out there. You just gotta hunt for them. And then the meat and potatoes. I've been saying the GPUs. Well, I was able to get, with a $600 budget, sometimes you get lucky with what you're able to find. Sometimes you're not. Whenever I was looking for it, I know they're not there right now. I had looked at, when I kind of went back to it to look to see if they were still there. I was actually kind of interested in buying it. Which was the P106-100s. There was a guy that had 2 of them. He was selling for, what was it? $164.52 with shipping on that. Dude, that's legit. 2 mining cards. Yeah, whoever bought those, they scored. They truly did. I almost snatched them up myself. I came like this close. And then I was looking at the GTX 1060 6GB. That came in at $137.37. And then that was from a Pallet, which is more of an over the seas thing, but dude, they still work. I don't care who makes them. It's still a 1070 Ti that NVIDIA made. It's gonna work. You know, it's still NVIDIA card. I mean, not that it's a 1070. That's what I have. But the 1060s, they still have the same NVIDIA chip. It doesn't matter who made them. If it's Gigabyte, EVGA, you're just kind of looking at having the most optimized version of what you're looking at. And then I've come across a PNY GTX 1050 Ti 4GB at $128.99. Dude, I mean that little list together, great startup rig. I mean, beautiful. Came just under the $600 range. Still gave you just enough room to go to your local hardware store, actually buy yourself like a little rack, some zip ties, and you can actually mount everything right on there. Boom. Nice and cheap, and you can start up. It's all about being efficient, being trim, you know, don't spending too much. And that kind of leads me into the article that I have sitting over here, where Bitmain allegedly fires all the BCH developers in a wave of redundancies. Trimming off that fat. That's what it's all about, trimming off that fat. With the down markets, a lot of these big giants, they might be able to survive the winters, but anything that they're doing extra, they got to get rid of. So if they've got 3 teams doing development, well, in a down market, they're going to get rid of it down to 1 team, and then they're going to look at that 1 team and they're going to see if they can downsize it to the meat and potatoes of exactly what it needs to be. Big companies do this all the time. As soon as they hit into a bad market patch that's prolonged, they start cutting down and downsizing. Bitmain's going to be doing a lot of the same thing. A lot of people are thinking, oh, Bitmain's going away. No, they're going to sit there, cut a little bit of fat off, get it down to the bare bone basics, and they're going to keep chugging along. They've been here long enough. Does it mean that they're going to be the big giant behemoth they used to be? No, we'll have to see in the futures with all of this stuff. But it definitely looks like in here that they're definitely getting rid of extra developers that are not being needed. They're calling it the redundancy. Anytime you got a redundancy, they get rid of it. GM did this, you know, and that's something that I pay attention to being a car guy. I love my GM cars. But they had Pontiac, Buick, GM. They're producing the same car 5 different ways. And you might sit there and think, well, what does that matter? Well, you got the Buick Park Avenue, you got the Bonneville, you've got the Regal, you've got the what was it? The G8. The Monte Carlo, at one point in time, the Impala. I mean, you got 6 cars all being produced on the same chassis. Is it really absolutely needed when it's all coming from the same manufacturer? Probably not. It's some of the reasons why GM kind of did away with certain things. Some of it was needed to help the company survive because they're going into a little bit of a recession themselves. They're not selling that many cars, so they can't sit there and be producing as much as they want. This is going to happen even in the crypto space. We're in the crypto winter. This stuff's going to happen. They're going to downsize. Doesn't mean that Bitmain's going away in any way, shape, or form. They still have a huge workforce. Yeah, 2,500 strong workforce. How much of it is a redundancy? I don't know. I don't look into Bitmain and how their company runs, but I understand what they're doing. I mean, it's hard to stand up against B-Trash when it's falling apart from the core. Shots fired? Maybe. It's like, but you know, it's like some of these people, I feel a little bad for the people who just got employed. Some of these people, you know, maybe have been employed for a week, a month. I wonder if they were being told that this was was going to happen, or somebody had said something about only a 1-week notice. That sucks. If you just got hired and going, my God, I've needed this job for so long. Holy cow, I can sit there and provide for my family a little better. Done. Fired. That would suck. And I feel bad for people in that position. Not for Bitmain, but for the people that just suddenly got fired without any real notice, if that's actually true. I wonder if they put a memo out, or if this was just kind of a spur of the moment. Hey, business is not doing good. If we don't trim the fat right now, we're going to tank. Is that what the situation that's going on? Don't know. Only the time will tell on that one for sure. They've already closed down their Israel market. They were talking about coming into the U.S., but now I wonder if that's actually going to happen with the market being in the crypto winter that we're in. Does it bother me one way or another? No. I just don't want Bitmain. I own a couple of the ant miners, so for me, I'd hate to see Bitmain go under, because then I would have automatic bricks that aren't doing me anything, that I spent some pretty good money for. Not like, oh my God, killer, but still, I spent good money. My money, I work hard for it. And I'm just trying to sit there and make a little passive income, not trying to retire off of this garbage. I'm just wanting to help liberate myself and be able to work in my garage and not worry about, oh my God, I haven't sold a car in a few weeks, or I haven't had a customer in a few weeks, because I do classic car restorations, that I'm still mining away and still have a small income coming in. That's what I'm looking at. And to sit there and see a company that I've kind of invested into disappear on a dip in the market, I don't think that's going to be in their cards, just because they're a big Goliath. I think they're pretty well braced for this, and I think them downsizing is them just trying to hedge everything and catch it before it's an issue. It looks like they might have been trying to keep these. In all fairness, this could have been hurting them far longer than they let on to, and they didn't want to get rid of anybody. Think about that. Do you think that these people in those positions are really that callous that they're just gonna get rid of their employees, going, oh man, I don't care, we need to make our money? No, they were probably trying to keep them in place for as long as possible, and they drug out the decision, I bet, for a little longer than everybody thinks. That's at least the way that I would do business, but who am I? I'm just some dude on YouTube that works on cars for a living. I mean, what do I know, right? But with that being said, what's your guys' thoughts on that? You know, drop down in the comments down below, you know. Do you think that Bitmain's going to be disappearing from all of this? Or do you think that this is just them trying to just cut the fat off to keep the longevity of the company going? Let me know in the comments down below. And while you're down there, definitely smash that like button, hit that bell, and the subscribe. All that good stuff helps me. And of course, like always, I will see you on the next one.